Hello and welcome to Chats con Sabor. It's me, Joanna, and I'm here with my two beautiful hosts, Linda and Yvette. And today we are talking about dating in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And this is going to be a series. So today is day one.
Hi, everybody. Hi,
Hello.
ladies. Yeah, so today we are tackling the topic of dating. And all three of us, to some degree, have been in the dating world. Linda and Joanna, as you all may or may not know, actually are in serious relationships. I myself am still single. This is Yvette. Still single, have been for quite some time. So we're just going to kind of talk about the different things. And of course, dating is one of those topics, just like our series on Let's Talk About Sex. We could just go
on and on and on.
Yeah,
on and
so
on and
many
on.
different tangents, right? Like so
Yeah.
many branches of this tree. So we decided that we're going to do this one also as a series. And this first installment kind of tackle just some basic things, but still going to be an interesting conversation, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. We got stories.
Yeah, we got stories.
Lots of stories, but we also want to hear your stories. So you
Yes.
guys can always comment on what you think. If you guys have a story, let us know. We're all curious over here.
Yes, we are. Please join the conversations in the comments. So first of all, let's talk about and tackle the online versus organic, like meeting somebody online versus organic. All three of us have done online dating. So
OMG.
Take it away, Miss Linda.
Oh my. Dating online or organically. Dating online, honestly, I have mixed feelings about it. I think it's a disaster, but at the same time, I think it's adventurous. I think it's convenient, I guess. That we can literally within 10 minutes download an app, create a little quick profile, and start swiping left and right and have a date for tonight. You know?
Yeah.
Like, just think about this. This is crazy.
True story.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say that, after getting into a serious relationship by the age I was 20, to being, separated a year ago and whatnot. So entering into the dating world, it was crazy and actually borderline creepy because we're getting to know these random people. And then in my case, right, I'm not from here, I'm from Miami, right? I have no background because at least I know that if I'm dating somebody in Miami, I can probably put it on Facebook. Find a couple mutual friends. I can probably phone a friend and be like, hey, what do you know about this person? And get a little bit of information. Even if we met online, I could have done that.
Right.
Now here for me in Atlanta, I'm not from here. I don't know other than people from work. It was scary for me to meet randoms. And man, the stories go on and on. But I think at the same time, I think it's sweet. I think it's convenient that we have that availability to do it. Now it's superficial as fuck, I'll say, because at least I know that I knew that the pictures I put up, they were my best looking pictures.
Of course.
So whenever anybody swiped for me, they were looking at the best Linda, right? But at the same time, when it comes to me looking for the guy swiping left or right, let's be honest, if you're not good looking, your profile better be funny, better have something else for me to even be intrigued. But we're honestly being led for the wrong things.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main difference between the online and the organic, that the organically you can meet somebody right at a bar or a friend of a friend, you went to a party, and all of a sudden you guys have great energy, great connection, and you might not find this person the most attractive in the room.
Right.
True.
But just because of the connection and what's happening, you might give it a chance to a real date or a second date or a third date. Just because the connection feels right, the values feel right, you can go ahead and move on and possibly evolve into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, online, we don't even have that chance. Number one, you have to look good. You,
Yeah,
That's
has
true.
to be physical.
Yeah.
tengo que comer con
It's
los
all
ojos.
physical, yeah.
I gotta eat you with my eyes, and then I can decide if I want to do something else. Like if I want to even give you a chance.
No.
Yum, 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 yeah. So it's definitely kind of, I think it goes against everything that, in general, most women is pro on, right? Like we
Right.
always, as women, talk about, we care about values, right? How they make us feel, all these different things that have a top tier priority
Yeah.
before looks. Of course, we want to have physical attraction, but I think most women will have a top 3-4 boxes that have to be checked before the physical aspect. And physical, I mean, again, eating with the eyes. I'm not talking about if the kiss felt good, because that's something else, but that's a whole other level.
That's chemistry. That's
That's like a whole nother thing.
That's once you meet in person.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
So I personally, it's crazy because it was the first thing I did. I did not go for dating organically because, again, I'm not from here.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did when I decided I'm ready to date was download an app.
Yeah.
Even though, again, it goes completely against what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why women get upset of not finding what they're looking for in the dating apps.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the priority of what or even if that's not what you want and not what you're intending, the priority in these apps for you and for the other person is always going to be the physical aspect first, because it's what you're seeing before you send a text, before you swipe, before you anything. It's physical.
That's true.
Are they cute?
Yeah.
Even though
we don't know anything, he could be a serial killer.
Hey.
A cute one, but
a cute one, but a serial killer than the. Oh my gosh! Okay, hold on, Linda Squirrel, for a second. Have you guys seen? I've seen TikTok lately, and I think it's hilarious how what's it called, like inmate pickups.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's like online dating, but online dating a criminal.
They're coming on my Instagram too, and I'm like, I've done this, guys. Okay, I'm talking to the audience now, like where I've sent Linda and Joanna a link, and I'm like, okay, I think because online dating hasn't worked, I haven't found my person. It's been 12 years for me. I think I might, become a pen pal.
We're going to
Some
jail.
of them are pretty cute. Not gonna
No,
lie.
but hold on. But I'm not talking about pimple. I'm talking about
I know
the inmates is
No,
about
they
to be
are.
released.
Yes.
Yeah, they're about to be released this
Yes.
week, and you're supposed to go and pick them up.
It's basically online dating for the pen, or for
Yeah.
the jail, whatever.
Yes.
Y'all haven't seen Love After Lockup?
No,
It's a
No.
show. Oh
No.
my gosh! Yeah,
Oh
half these
my
women meet their guys online,
Oh,
and then
Lord.
they try to get
Well,
married and all that.
Well, I'm more
Or ticket
specifically
night.
talking about not people, because at least there, what you're describing, Joanna, I feel like there's a possibility, even if it's bullshit, there's a possibility of finding connection because, these are my values. You've been sending letters or you've been talking on the phone.
Mhm.
You have allowed for connection. Okay. What I'm talking about, women that they find in the newspaper, men that an ad where men
That's
are
how
like,
it used to be. Craigslist.
yeah, an ad saying, okay, I'm getting released.
God.
I'm getting released, out of jail, whatever, December 25th.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to come and pick me up, and then as a person, again, there's no relationship, there's no contact. Like I said before, there's no phone call. No. It's like, okay, you know what? Today I want to get laid, and you know what? I'm gonna go by the county jail and pick up so and so that posted a thing on. That's crazy.
Hey, at least they know exactly what they're getting.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
Online dating is very misleading too, because you can pretend you're someone you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And until that person actually physically meets you and you guys start dating for a little bit, you don't know whether that person is who they said they were on that profile. Same thing goes for women. It's just not men. I mean, I've heard from guys like, oh, these women, they use these filters and you meet them in person and you're like, holy shit,
Wait, hold on. I had somebody meet me and said, thank you for looking like your pictures.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah, so have I actually.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is this an issue? And like, no, yeah, with the nowadays with
They look
filters,
completely different.
they look completely
Yeah.
different. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's sad.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie. I like my Snapchat filters, but I like the ones that look a little bit more on the natural side. Now I play around sometimes and I'll post,
We all do. But
the big eyelashes and big fat lips.
I haven't seen those. I want to see.
But we live in this society now. I mean, everything is filtered. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
And now, not only that, now you've got AI coming into the mix.
oh my goodness.
Where it looks fucking real.
It really
And
does.
it's not anything real. Like, what? And the only way that I can tell is because the mouth doesn't move the same way that the words do when I'm watching reels. And I'm like, oh, scroll. Like I'm watching something completely fake.
Mhm.
Obviously, everything is fake, right? But I'm like, this is completely fake. This is not a real person. So I'm like scrolling, and that's just through social media. Can you
Mhm.
imagine using AI to catfish people now on online dating? That's crazy. I mean, as it is, we talked about this with Kevin when he was on our show the last time, where people put on their credentials basically on their profiles.
Mhm.
They've got an 800 credit score. They own 2 houses. They make 6 figures, whatever the case is, right? Like it's constant selling, I guess,
Mhm.
marketing themselves.
Well, it's
and
not just
stuff.
marketing. It's like you said, catfishing.
Yeah. And sometimes that's what I was going to say is like sometimes it's not even real.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find out, oh, they don't own their own business. They're a contract worker. Oh, that's not your own business.
Mm.
You're not in business for yourself. You work for other people, like what Kevin was explaining that in that
Mhm.
one episode. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. But have you met anybody online?
I mean,
We got stories, baby. We got stories.
my current boyfriend, I could technically say I met him online.
True, but you met him in person the first time, though. So, and not by accident, but by happenstance, you met
Mhm.
him in person.
True, but then when we actually, but then he didn't have my number.
Mm-hmm,
He didn't have my information. I'm sure he barely remembered my name.
But that wasn't what I'm saying. That for you, once you saw him on the app, I'm sure it was like an easy because you had already met him, felt his energy.
You know what? Let's talk about that for a second.
And then you swiped right,
Yeah.
right?
Because I met him in person.
Exactly.
I think. Hold on. Let me make a point to my earlier point.
Yeah.
Okay. If I would have seen his profile alone,
you would have swiped left.
I would have swiped left.
Randall, cover your ears.
Well, it's just not. I don't think his pictures do justice.
No.
He's very handsome.
And
He's
even
very handsome,
even
very
nowadays,
handsome.
I take pictures with him, and I'm like, you don't look like that. Like I'm sorry. Like, I mean, that happens to me too. That's why, again, filters, right?
Yeah,
we put the
yeah,
phone on top because when I find the right
Angles,
angle,
yeah, lighting.
I don't have issues. He knows I deeply care for him, and he's attractive, and I find him handsome. So I'm not worried about what he thinks about this podcast. But just being completely honest, why? Because his pictures didn't do justice.
Just going based
Just
off
going
of,
based off the picture. Just like I said,
visuals,
visually, I was like,
And let's be real, guys are not like girls. They don't really look for most guys. Some guys do, but most guys, they're not going to sit there and try to get the best angle for the best selfie and the best whatever. Like,
no,
all they're worried about is like, this is me,
Yeah.
Click, and it's like they got a double chin and whatever, and it's just like,
Yeah.
And then sometimes they don't look like that in person.
Well, they have
so.
angles if they're pretty boys and they have 6 packs.
That's what I'm
Just
saying. That's what some do.
Well,
some will work hard for that.
Yeah.
But again, it's marketing. They're
It
marketing
is.
themselves. That's what it is, right? So, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, after many failed attempts on the dating world, on the online dating world, right? I remember the last time I'm like, okay, fine. Last time I'm gonna open a stupid profile. I'll give it one more chance because I'm not meeting anybody organically, anyways, right? I remember that one of my first sentences were, if you're wearing a filter, if you're using a filter, don't even try. Because none of my pictures had, and that was the honest truth. None of my pictures had a filter. Yes, it could be an angle up, angle to the side, finding my right pose, the right view, of course.
Your best side.
My best side, but my pictures did not have filters.
Yeah.
But I was running into, let's say, every 2 guys, the third guy had a filter. is becoming so common nowadays. And you can tell because they look fakely tan, all these different things. It looks fake.
Yeah.
And you can tell. And you're right. Most guys won't use filters.
Mhm.
But there
There's
are
some that
plenty
do.
out there that are using them filters.
Oh, yeah. Or using other guys' pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That happened to me once
Oh, goodness.
recently. Not recently, but like
Yeah.
within the last 6 months. That happened to me. And I was like,
Oh, wait, hold on. How about when they use their pictures from 10, 15 years ago?
That irritates the crap out of me. I'm like, I don't mind. Okay, first of all, I'm not looking to date a 20-something-year-old. Okay, so I'm 50 years old. I'm not looking to date somebody in their 20s. So when you're trying to like catfish, basically, and you're saying that you're 49, 50, you're my age, or 55, and you look like you're 25, bro, those are pictures.
Your college
From-
pictures.
Yeah, like, great. They're great pictures, and I get that. You want to, you look good back then, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you were married and then now you're divorced and you have a dad bod, whatever it is. But be authentic. You know what I mean? We're out there, like Kevin was saying, like this is a good point coming from a male's perspective. He noticed like women go on dating apps and they're being their authentic selves for the most part, because yes, there are some women that are out there trying to, whatever. And I don't get those women, but to each their own. But we're out there actually trying to look for somebody to be in a relationship with, to start to have a connection with. So we're putting our authentic selves out there, saying exactly what we like, what we don't like. Like, are we into the bullshit? No, we're not. Like, we're not into the drama, blah, 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 whatever it is, or what we're looking for in a man, all that stuff. But they're over here just trying to get some. So they're trying literally to like cast the net, like we were talking about on our very first episode, cast the net and see what they catch, and it sucks for us because we put all this effort and everything, and then it just feels sometimes that once you start seeing through all that bullshit, it really is disheartening and discouraging as a female out there trying to use these, as you said, not necessarily natural way of meeting people. We're trying to use these different things that we have at our disposal on our phones, these apps, and we're actually trying to build something or trying to find somebody that we can build something with, and they're just out there fucking around, and it's like, oh God. And so it's no better than going to the bar and picking somebody up and taking them home, having a one-night stand. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I'd rather do that. If that's what we're going to do, let's do that instead of me putting all this effort into building a profile.
Let's stop pretending.
Yeah. Right. But into building a profile just to catch your attention visually. Because I'm wearing a low-cut blouse or something. Like, oh, yeah, okay, I like her. Like, what do you like about me? Did you even read my profile? There were some men, no, I will say there were some men that actually read my profile and they asked me questions about my profile. Like, when you said this, what did you mean by whatever? I'm big on communication. You ladies know that. Like, I'm so big on communication. So if somebody's actually trying to ask me questions and get to know me as a person, that is super attractive to me. I don't care what you look like, really, because if you're really trying to get to know me as a person, I mean, obviously I have to be physically attracted to you, but it almost comes secondary if you're putting forth that effort,
Right. So I'm going to defend the guys on this one too, as well. Just, I think guys get caught up too with the thirst traps, let's call them, with some of these women that have filters, that have this, that have that. And they're genuinely trying to find someone to be with. And they go and they meet this person, and this person says they have XYZ values when in reality they don't. So I think it really goes both ways. It's really tough for guys as well out there, not just women. But the advice I am going to give to men is, when you do have these requirements for a woman, stay true to what it is that you put on your profiles. Don't say that you want something and 3 months later down the road, that person has what's on your requirements, your checklist, whatever you want to call them, and change it up. Yeah. Because I had that happen to me.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, you go into a relationship thinking that someone's has the same values as you, and then 6 months down the road, you find yourself purchasing a house together, doing this together, and the person is not who they said they were.
Yeah.
They're not a family person. It sounds good on paper and it sounds good in their head, but that's not who they are in reality.
Well, I think part of that is that I'm going to say people, because I don't want to say it's just men, because I think women were guilty of this too, right? I think we as people were guilty to jump back into the dating world without being ready to date.
Yeah, too fast.
Too fast. Somebody could be single for 5 years or 10 years and still not be ready to date because they haven't put in the work to really figure out themselves and what they like or what they're looking in a person. Because like you said, on paper, it sounds good what they're looking for. Yeah, I want a family. I want somebody that's supportive. I want all of this because on paper it sounds right. But in reality, that's not really what they're looking for. That wouldn't fit in their lifestyle. That wouldn't fit in what they want to. And it would be a lot better if, as people, we were honest with ourselves and say, you know what? Whatever. I just got out of a relationship 6 months ago. And it's true. I want somebody. But the reality is, as somebody that I want, I don't necessarily, I'm ready to date. I want my one person, but it doesn't mean that I'm ready for a full-blown committed relationship because I just got out of one 6 months ago.
Right.
However, I would like to have a person that I can see every once in a while, that can be my companion almost. I think if we were honest with ourselves, life will be so much easier because I think there's plenty of people in that step in life.
Yes.
Where they would like to have somebody, but that doesn't mean they want to move in with somebody or they want to marry somebody. They just want companionship until they're ready for that next move. And I think if, as people were to be honest and say that, it would be much easier because I think a lot of people they find themselves in this sticky situation where they're in love, they're ready for the next step, but the other person is not.
And then that's where the pressure comes in, and they start putting pressure on that other person. And that was my situation. It was it's pressure. This is what I want. And everything was I. And it's like, well, this is not what I want right now. Right. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to work. But that maybe was not security. And I think too with guys, like I know that a lot of my male friends that have dated, they always run into the woman that is not ready for a relationship, jumps into a relationship, breaks up with them, and then goes back to their ex.
Yeah.
Oof. And I think that situation is very heavy with women.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because we're always looking for the next best thing. And I will say that women tend to do that just as much as men do. We're always thinking that the grass is greener, or we find quote unquote red flags. We think, okay, no, he's got to be perfect. And like in your situation, he turns out to be something that he's not, or he said something because he's just trying to tell you what you want to hear. And I feel like we all do that in the beginning anyway. We always put our best foot forward.
Yeah.
We always say the right things. We always look the right way. And then all of a sudden we get comfortable, and then you start seeing different colors on people, and that's because they start getting comfortable with you, right? They start putting their walls down and they show you they're ugly. Well, and that, I think it was Bob Marley who said, you're never going to find somebody who's not going to hurt you. You just have to pick the person who you're willing to like work through that pain, right? I mean, not in those words, right? I'm not quoting him verbatim, but I'm just saying that makes a lot of sense to me because you have to pick somebody who you connect with on a deeper level. And that to me is why communication is important.
Key. Yeah, for sure.
That's why I look for that. Because if I can talk to you for hours on end on the phone, like we're teenagers or we're in high school or whatever, and we're talking on the phone about all kinds of shit, or in person, we're just sitting on the couch and I'm staring into your eyes while you're talking to me and you're asking me questions and you're actually listening because 5 weeks later or 5 months later, you bring something up that I said to you once when we were sitting on the couch having a glass of wine. That's big to me. Then I'm like, oh my God, I'm in love now.
He listened. He really listened.
Like he actually listened to what the fuck I was saying. Again, I mean, we've had this conversation, throughout the podcast, but I'm just saying, when you find somebody like that, if you're actually looking for that, because there are people that aren't looking, like you said. And if we were just honest from the get-go, then everybody could find their person, whoever they're...
That's matching the expectations, matching the energy.
Same level,
yeah. So, yeah, that's very interesting.
Right. But I will say this, dating on my 30s, it's really fun, or it was really fun, because I feel like I was caught in between everybody that's getting divorced, like in my case, right? Everybody that's trying a second time, a new opportunity, right? But at the same time, I had the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old boys hitting on me. Just like I had the 50, 58, 60-year-old. I was like, whoa. I got options. I can date up. I can date down.
The pool is very large.
Swim, baby, swim.
It's a fucking ocean out there.
It sure is.
Oh my God. Okay, so switching gears a little bit. So I know for me, I was looking for a specific, like, we talked about this. I have a perfect man list, right? It's called a PML, but it's not necessarily that I'm looking for a perfect man, because I know he does not exist. Okay. Again, I literally just said, I just want to find the person who's not going to intentionally hurt me from the get-go, like right off the gate. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to know each other. And if down the line we figure out, you know what, we're not meant to be together, then okay, then I'm okay splitting ways, whatever. But don't come into it intentionally, like trying to ruin my fucking peace, right? Because I work really hard for that shit.
Yeah, for real.
But my question to you ladies is, when you were looking, because I know you're not looking anymore, but when you were looking, what were you looking for in a man? Like mentally, or even written down like me, because I'm a lister, I make my lists. But what were you looking for in that special someone?
Well, in my 40s, because I did not become single until
in your 40s?
40, 41-ish.
Okay.
I think the one thing I didn't want, I can tell you what I didn't want. I didn't want someone that was going to be hurtful. I wanted someone that was spiritually linked. I wanted someone that was a family person. We're from a Hispanic family. Our Hispanic family is usually super close. We're always together. We spend holidays together. We're always, doing things together. And I wanted the person that was in my life to understand what that dynamic was. And another thing was, I didn't want anyone in law enforcement ever again.
I feel that. Yeah, another level, but I feel that.
So it was just, I think I wanted someone that would allow me to be in my feminine energy and not always be in my masculine energy, which was always running around, taking care of the household. When I was the doer, and I wanted to actually have someone that would just not do for me all the time, but when I needed someone to lift me up, they were there to lift me up. I didn't want to do it by myself. I didn't want to carry everyone on my back. I wanted someone to carry me when I needed to be carried.
Yeah.
I think that was
looking for a true partner.
I was looking for a true partner. And I'm not taking anything away from my husband, because he was a good father, a good provider. But there was a lot of things that he did that was definitely not on my want list after we separated and everything. So I was definitely a different headspace. Then I started dating, and then I saw the brokenness in the 40s, and I was like, from other men. And like we were talking about, the lies, and I'm ready, I'm gung-ho, I want a relationship, I'm a family man, I'm this, I'm that. And then 3 months down the line, that's not who they are.
Yeah.
Like if this is what you want, then want it for real.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, just kind of interject here. Do Do you think that maybe it was possible that he maybe thought he was ready? Like that's really what he wanted at the beginning. And then 3 months into the relationship figured out like, oh shit, I'm really not ready for this.
Well,
for the commitment and the
I
house
got
and everything.
when I was in the dating scene, this was the huge one-liner for us 40-year-olds. I want a woman that's independent, that can handle herself. As soon as they got that independent woman, they didn't know what the fuck to do with an independent woman because that woman didn't rely on them. So
didn't feed their ego.
It didn't. It didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and so when a male, advice for guys, when you say you want an independent woman, be clear what type of independent woman you want. You know, because there's independent women that are financially secure, moms. Just be clear on what it is you want. Because if you want someone that is independent, you're not going to get that soft, feminine energy.
Delicate.
You're gonna get that masculine energy, and it's gonna come full
strong
force.
Yes.
Which, by the way, brings me to this small little point. We are encouraging our listeners to go back and listen to, we actually did an episode on balancing our feminine and our masculine energy. So we go really in depth about what Joanna just touched on right now. So
it was a doozy.
Yeah. Linda, did you have like a list, a mental list aside from, and I'll just throw this out there real quick. When I got divorced, or even when I was separated, I knew what I didn't want.
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think to me, I don't want X, Y, and Z was more important than what I wanted.
Yeah.
And as hard as this could sound, I think many women can relate with me to this. I think that after being let down so much, it came to a point where, like, basically, I became this strong, independent woman. Like, I don't need anything from a guy.
Right.
Right. So when I stepped into the dating world, there was nothing a guy could give me other than dick. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it.
Other than that is it.
Because at the end of the day, listen, I don't need to put my business out there, but I will. Because this is what we're all about.
Right.
One of the things that my ex used to throw on my face is like, "Oh, what are you gonna do without me?" Wow. And it's like, are you serious? Like, do you see what everything I do in this house? Like,
no, obviously.
I'm like, for real? And, once whatever the decision came up and everything that happened, I know, even to this day, he was surprised that I was able to make it on my own. Paying my apartment, still helping with the kids' childcare, everything. Like, I get 0 from my ex. And I'm making it just fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And which, again, I know it was surprising to him.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, so all that to say is when I walked into the dating world, I wasn't looking any like financial support. I didn't need that. I have my own apartment. I have my vehicle. I pay my bills. I pay my own drinks. I was having fun with you girls. I did everything that I wanted to do. Yeah. Without a guy. So Joanna's right. When they say I want an independent woman, what is it you're really looking for?
Yeah.
Because as a man, you have nothing to offer me. Yep. So I'm sorry. Every single guy that I run into that was claiming that, what they quickly found out is that their ego and their pride was shut.
Yeah, can't handle it. Yeah.
They couldn't handle it because they had nothing to offer me, materialistic wise.
Right. Yeah.
But that's when I realized, okay, you're not my guy, because you're too immature to realize that what I need goes far and beyond what financially you can provide me. Yep. So, unfortunately, initially that I first of all, I've never had a real list of what I want in a guy. Never. Even when I was in high school, trust me, I had people tell me, make a list and all these different things, which, I guess makes sense for a lot of people, like you, my fellow Virgo, but making a list, it's not something I make a list. I'm going to, not about dating, but I'll make a list just so I can get the satisfaction of checking things off. I want you to know. And for the most part, when I'm making a list, I already know half of the list. I already did it, or I'm about to do it, and I know I'm going to get it done. So it's literally for the dopamine of I got it done. And I'm happy that I got my list completed.
That's got to be an ADD thing or something.
ADHD, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, I did this. Yep, check. Okay.
Check. I showered today. Checked. I made my bed. Check. I made to work on time. Check. That's it. My day's over. I did it.
Her rush has been satisfied.
Dopamine hit.
Check. Oh my god.
My list is the opposite. Mine's like everything I've done. Ba, 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 ba.
I feel great. I did it.
There's no check marks. Okay, this is how my day went. This is what I did. This is what.
So you make a list at the end of the day
Yeah.
to see what you've accomplished. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
wow.
interesting.
That
Wow.
is interesting.
That is very interesting.
But I will say, I did have a very basic, probably 5 checkbox list.
Okay.
Number one, it was financial.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm financially independent. If you cannot be financially independent, next, I don't need you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be manteniendo a guy. No.
Oh, not happening.
Not happening. I'm sorry. I'm the girl. You pay for my shit. I'm not going to pay for somebody. No. Not doing it.
Yeah.
So number 1 was financial. It had to be somebody that was financially stable. Number 2, that was very important to me, was the fun and adventure aspect of it. And
You are a Sagittarius.
I am a
You're
Sagittarius.
very adventurous.
And I love to dance. I'm Latina heart with that. If you put me in the midst of a room of Latinas, I'm probably not the best dancer. That's true. But I love to dance.
Mm-hmm.
I can't deny it. It's in my blood. I love to salsa, merengue, reggaeton, whatever you call it, whatever makes my hips move. I want it.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. So guess what? Part of the list was like, you don't necessarily have to know how to dance, but take me out dancing. Don't be afraid to dance with me. Like, that's important to me. I want to have fun. I'm done being boring. I want to enjoy myself. And I want to be able to go hiking and do, not because I'm very much into nature. You know, I like to hug trees and be getting lakes. And yes, everything that's like nature related, I just love it. The beach, rivers, desert, all of the above. I like them all. I'm not going to Alaska, Kevin. I'm sorry. But other than that,
Don't tell him that. He's going to cry.
but other than that, everything in between I love. So I think on the top of my head right now, that was probably like a priority. You know, I don't want financial burden and I want to have a good time. Because the rest of my list, it revolved in, I don't want a macho guy. I don't want somebody in their feminine, or I don't want somebody so fixed up on their quote unquote masculine that does not allow me to, again, I am an independent woman. I am strong. I do work in a management team in a men-led industry. You know, like, even if I don't want to have this, a little bit of masculine in me, I still carry it because it's literally my job.
Yeah.
You know, so I needed a guy that felt comfortable and was mature enough to handle that and be so in their masculine that didn't affect them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but no, honestly, I did not have a very long list like you. I know you do. I know you well. I know you well that your list is like pages. Mine,
It's a fucking book.
It is. Mine wasn't like that. Kind of like what you said earlier. Okay, if you can match this basic requirements, then let's go meet.
Yeah.
Because again, we are in the online dating world.
Yeah.
And very rarely do we get to meet people naturally unless you are in the world of networking and you're constantly out in the business world and you're having drinks with people and meeting new people. But if you're not doing that, you go to work and you go home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much of a space, I guess, to meet people organically, right? So if, in my mind, what I thought was, if you check this basic 4 or 5 boxes, all right, then let's go on a date.
Yeah.
Let's go here, let's go there, and then let me get to meet you and see what happens.
And if you're cute.
And if you're cute.
That helps.
That helps.
If you have a nice smile.
If those dimples.
If you have a nice smile, smile, you have
Smile,
dimples, and you
yeah.
have kind eyes.
Yes.
Eyes are big
Uh-huh.
for me.
Yes.
Eyes and teeth, like lips. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, those are all physical things. But okay, so switching gears a little bit here. Both of you are in long-term relationships or committed relationships. That's the word. Both of you are in committed relationships. What are your thoughts on kids and blending families?
I feel like I got 12 years of expertise in this, girls. Because yes, I am in a committed relationship, but it's not the first time that I'm blending families. Okay. I think we don't live in a society or in a world where it really teaches us, or what's the word I'm looking, encourages us
Mhm.
to have healthy blended families.
Agreed.
I agree. Yeah.
And I say that from being a kid of a divorced parents. But even in my first marriage with blended families, oh my gosh, was there drama with the baby mama? And I thought it was unnecessary. I think we have fed in so much into this toxic single mom mentality. And I get it, because when my mom was a single mom, it was the norm where the guy would leave the wife for somebody else, the secretary, the whatever. Because of that, right, the mom will be very angry, very nasty, and creating, telling the kid, oh, your dad is such a this, such a that, right? Creating this animosity to the kids to think badly about their father or their mother, vice versa. It could be either or, but going back to old school ways, right? Nowadays, you see more fathers taking that responsibility of raising the kids, but it's usually the moms that are the single moms, right? So I honestly, personally think that it could be a very beautiful thing if you know how to manage it. But when you have a co-parent that is living in pain, they don't want to see their kids loving another adult. I think that's something that's very strong. There's a jealousy part of that. That, oh, you're my kid, and you don't want your kid to love another adult the same way that they love you. But I think it all comes down to insecurities.
Yeah.
You're insecure as a parent. You're insecure as a husband, as a wife, whatever
As a person.
as a
Well,
person.
and then you've gone through that split from that your life, quote unquote, life partner, right? So then that relationship is also broken. So when you see them going into another relationship with, and I'm thinking of my own, marriage. So when we divorced, when we actually filed for divorce, he got into another relationship right away. And I kind of feel like he was so quick to introduce her to my children, especially to my daughters. It didn't matter so much. My son was already older, like he was over 18. So it didn't matter so much with him because he was an adult. He could make his own decision as far as like, does he want to meet this woman or not? But my daughters were still young, especially my youngest. My youngest is 7 years younger than the middle child, right? My older daughter. So to me, I felt like, wait a minute, no, like you shouldn't bring, because I haven't even done that. I did it one time where I brought somebody into their lives that I had dated, but this was before my 7-year sabbatical. And I regretted it because it didn't last. And to me, I'm always like, no, you're not going to get to meet my children. I'm not doing that to them. Forget about what's going on over here and forget about my ex-husband, forget about all that. I'm not doing that to them. I don't want a revolving door of men coming into their lives. And I didn't realize that my ex, was actually in this relationship looking for it long term, which actually I should have caught a clue because that's kind of what he did with me. Yeah. So, but at the time, I guess, and not to say that I was insecure about it, I was just, like you said,
concerned,
mama mode. I was like, wait a minute. No, you're not going to bring this woman into my daughter's lives. And then she's going to be gone in 6 months. What's the point? Right. So you can play family? Like, no. And then they got married. And so now it's fine. Obviously I got over that, and I didn't even want to meet her at first. I did not want to meet her because I felt like she wasn't going to be around. Like, I
Right.
didn't need
What's
to
the
meet
point?
her. What's the point? And she's not going to be in my life.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Going back to the point that I was making, I think you had a good perspective because you were thinking about the kids.
Right.
I think the downfall of a lot of mixed relationships is that either or the parents, they're so focused about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's about how they feel and their own insecurities,
Right.
rather than how can I make this easier for my kids?
Right.
How can I talk to them so the healing process or the shock is not so strong? How can I, and I think that's the key for blending families. If you're gonna focus on the kids and focus that the blending is smooth and it's organic and it's
Right.
beautiful, you're not forcing it, then I think it could work out.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think so. I mean, you know my story. You know how my stepdaughters, they call me mom.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it wasn't something forced. It was something that was just natural. That with the years it happened, and it's possible. I think it's beautiful. Even after my separation, I'm still talking to my stepkids. I consider them as part of my family. They're my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So to all the listeners out there, it is possible. It is, but it took a lot of fight. I'm not gonna lie; it did not come easy.
Right.
But this relationship that I have with my kids, it took, number one, building, and number two, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of damage control.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's like, I have two folds in my life. My husband was amazing with my oldest son. My son was his son. We got married. He raised him like he was his own, never said it was his stepson, nothing. The family was blended. He was kind. He was loving. He was such a great dad to the boys. And then on the other hand, too, I have had situations where when I did start dating, yeah, my kids were older, but at the same time, I had to explain to them what dating was. Like, I needed to explain to them, just because I'm dating this guy doesn't mean that he's replacing your dad.
Right.
Doesn't mean that I'm going to marry him. It doesn't mean any of that. It's me trying to figure out where I want to be in my life, who I want to be with. I'm like, after a 15-year marriage, you kind of forget what it is that you're interested in, who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. So it took a long time for my kids to understand that, because to them it was like, oh, she's going out on another date. Oh, but explaining to them on the why,
mm-hmm.
then they started understanding it. And now as adults, they really understand it, especially my oldest. So,
well, yeah, because now they're dating, so now they get it.
Now they're dating, now they get it. Like,
and your oldest has a son too, so now he's having to deal with the same thing.
Yeah,
now.
Right.
Yeah,
so
he's in that same situation.
I think that being honest with your kids and having an understanding of what it is that you're doing at that moment, and also like not being. We need to start separating ourselves with having companionship and dating and all that. We need to start separating all that. Mm-hmm. Go through the stages. Mm-hmm. So you're making a really good decision for your family,
right?
Mm-hmm. And listen to your kids. If your kids feel as though something's not right,
listen to them.
Listen to them. Something's not right. Sometimes you got to let go of your feelings and emotions about that person. I mean, they have pretty good spidey senses too.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. And sometimes they don't, because I will tell you from personal experience, when I was kind of reluctant to allow my ex-husband's now wife, I was reluctant to let her spend so much quality time with my daughters. Mm-hmm. I got some pushback from my daughters. It was funny. I would ask my youngest constantly, how do you feel? How does she make you feel? Is she nice to you? Mm-hmm. And because there was no issue there, I never created an issue with my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. But my older daughter there were several times where she would say, Mom, be nice. Be nice. She's a really nice person. And I was like, no, she's not. So my spidey sense, and I would tell her, like, No, she's not that nice. Like, and somebody who's that nice isn't really that nice. Now, I wasn't ever the type to be like, oh, she's a bitch. Never once did I talk bad about her or their father for that matter. But I just kind of left it alone. And I just was like, don't tell me how to feel and don't tell me how to relate to her. Once I did meet her and everything, I think she and I came to an understanding, a very clear understanding. And she knew that I was not a threat to her or the relationship. I don't want to say we became friends, but we came to an understanding of where our places were
Right.
within that dynamic.
Right. And the guards kind of got put down a little.
Yes, a little. But still very cordial, very, and because I don't have anything against her. Like, especially now that my kids are all grown. Now, there was a time where I changed my mind about meeting her because she was spending time with my granddaughter. That was when I really said to myself, no, okay, I need to actually meet this woman now because she's spending time with my grandchild. Mm-hmm. Now, the baby doesn't know anything. So now I need to know who she is.
Right.
My youngest daughter at the time was old enough to tell me things. You know what I'm saying? And I kept that line of communication open with her constantly. But all I'm saying is that the tables really turned because then at one point I was like, well, she's your dad's wife now. And at the very least, you don't have to say she's your stepmom, but literally she's your stepmom now. Mm-hmm. But I don't need to get involved with anything because he's literally nothing to me anymore other than he's the father of my children and my ex-husband. Those are his titles. That's it. You know what I mean? Now, I don't want to make it seem like we have issues. There's nothing there. There's no drama. There's nothing like that. All I'm saying is that we weren't necessarily blended.
Wait, did she have kids?
She does have 2 boys of her own.
Oh.
Yeah, they're older.
So did you guys ever, not with you, but did they ever blend it? In other words, does your kids consider them siblings? As stepkids or anything? So you guys never really blended?
They're just her kids. That's it.
That's it.
Well, yeah, and never mind. I was going to say something, but no. That's her business. I don't want to put her business out there.
Right.
So,
which is okay.
Yeah, no, they never blended in that way. Now, she did have one of her sons that lived with them while my daughter lived there too. So, but he's older, and then
they didn't become friends.
It wasn't like they were little. They grew up together. This all happened when my kids were older. I was with my ex-husband for 22 years almost.
No, so. I get that, but I don't know. In my mind, if they get to spend time together, whether it is some holidays, some whatever, in my mind, I will think, okay, they if possible, because again, it takes 2 people to have a relationship, right?
Right.
So your daughter could be willing, but if her sons are not willing, then there won't be no relationship, right?
Right.
But in my mind, I always think like, okay, well, if they spend holidays together and they spend birthdays together or whatever, maybe there's a little bit of a relationship, and that's why I was asking if your kids kind of.
And they do spend like holidays and stuff together. They go to family parties and stuff, but for the most part,
they don't stay connected.
No,
okay.
Not like that. And they definitely don't consider it like themselves siblings.
And I understand the whole age gap that you mentioned because it really does matter. Like my son, my stepkids, those are his siblings, and they will forever be his siblings because they grew up with them. He grew up with them. Mm-hmm. Now Elijah, that he's a baby. Well, he's not a baby. He's 3. He's my baby, but he's 3, right? He did not grow up with my stepkids. He's growing up with Isaiah right now, but the girls, they're not here, so he's not growing up with the girls, right? And my daughter just, she came a couple months ago, and they built it. They built a beautiful relationship. They bonded. And I think in the future, he probably will see her the same way that Logan sees her, just because Logan is going to put her or them really on that pedestal, right?
Right.
Oh, like for example, Addie, she's coming for Christmas, right? So what's Logan right now excited about? Oh, Addie's coming. We haven't seen Addie in 2 years. Mm-hmm. No. Yes, 2 years. So Logan's all excited. I can't wait for Addie to come home. We're excited for Christmas. But Elisha doesn't know about that excitement. Elisha doesn't know any about that. But guess what? He feeds off of that excitement from Logan.
And you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like Elijah is going to still embrace some of that because of Logan. But I can totally see that if this would have happened when Elisha was 10, for example, or maybe 15, he might not have the same openness to embrace a new person into his life and consider them a sibling.
Yeah. It's hard when they're older.
Yeah.
It's definitely
it's very hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a topic for another podcast, but episode, but just making friends and actually finding connection as older kids, you know,
Mhm.
like in your teens and stuff, like that's very difficult, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, I totally see that. It's good that they're little right now and they, or that they were, and actually they were born into
A
like,
blended family.
yeah, born into a blended family. That's good. Okay. So we're almost at the hour mark. Yeah, I know that was
A
fast.
whole hour?
I
Oh
know,
my
I
goodness.
know.
Yeah, this
I have so many other things I want to talk about.
I
but
was
think
gonna
this is
say,
good
I
for
mean,
tonight.
I feel like we were focused on me and my 30s dating. We're still gonna talk about the 40s and the 50s. And even then, I feel like I have questions. Like we were talking about me in the dating world. Yeah, I have questions for you, Vet. but we'll come back to them.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. This is a whole series on dating because, like we said, we could go on so many different tangents, right?
Yeah.
But Joanna has our words of wisdom for tonight.
Dead people receive more flowers than living ones because regret is stronger than gratitude. And that's a quote from Anne Frank, which I think is very, very important to remember. Don't leave this earth or don't be on this earth and live in regret. I mean, just love everyone who's supposed to be meant to be, will be there. Whoever isn't, will not. And you have to be okay with that.
I agree with that. I agree. And make sure you hug your kids. Tell the people that you love them. Tell them now. Don't wait until someone's 6 feet under for you to go and cry about it at their funeral. I always tell my kids, like, they already know. They have marching orders. Like, there's not going to be a funeral for me. So in case you're all wondering.
Celebration, baby. We're going to partay.
They're going to have a big ass party for me. So yeah. And my youngest already has plans for me, how to spread my ashes and stuff. So.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. We talk about these things in my family. So.
I've talked to my kids too.
I tell them, and if you do not respect my wishes, I will come haunt you.
You will see me.
You will see me again.
And not in a good way. I'll be hunting your soul.
I'll be yanking you out of your bed.
I'll be tickling your toes.
I will say this is a good topic for next episode or for the following episode. Whatever.
Right? Yeah.
One episode. Because I'll be honest, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't want all the funeral cost and all that money for them people to come cry to me at a tomb that I know I'm not there at. Like,
listen, and mostly it's people that like haven't seen me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Why are you going to come cry for me? Hello.
Yeah,
you didn't reach out while I was alive. So.
Well, not just that. Like growing up, I remember my mom going to like the cemetery to like, you know, it was my grandma's birthday or my great grandma's, her grandma's birthday or her grandma's whatever, and bring flowers to the cemetery. You know, as a kid, I just felt like it never made sense. Like, yes, I believe in the spiritual world, but I'm sorry, once you're dead, you're dead. You moved on to a different life, different heaven, hell. I don't know. You're not here.
It's like they say, funerals and cemeteries are for the living. Literally.
Yes.
It's for us. It's for us to cope in some way, you know, for the people that
So
we
Again,
So
a topic for another time.
Yeah.
So when I die, guys, throw a party for me, please, and take a shot of tequila.
Me too.
A whole bottle for me, please. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on Chats con Sabor. Adios.
See you next time.
Bye.